So here are the mushrooms I got today. They're just specks of dirt. That's the mushroom. So I've yet to find out what that one is, but I always see it. So I thought I'd pick it and try and find it on the internet, see if it's edible. Because there was a lot of these. So, and this is just the fruiting body, remember? Oops. You know, this is just the fruiting body that lays eggs or spores. Same with this, and you can see where the spores were. So I don't know what this is. It's a little bracket fungi. You can see the lines. There's another one that I got that's a bracket fungi. You can see the lines. I think that's bird poo. Or some other fungus growing on top of it, the white stuff. So the true colour of this mushroom is these rings here of brown. See, it's a light brown and darker brown rings. The younger ones had just that colour mainly. And this one, I think I saw this on a video, so I have to research. That's just dirt on top of it, but I might not even eat these. I'm just researching them to see if they're edible. That's that one. That's just white. And I think this is a boletus or boletellus. I think it's a boletus. It's got the typical, that sort of foamy yellow underneath when you remove all the dirt. It's like a foamy yellow and sort of a red cap and a reddish white stipe or stem. So that's it. Let's have a look on the internet. And that's just a dirty plate in the background. That's all that stuff is. That's actually greens from yesterday's meal in oil. So there you go, there's the mushrooms that I got, and there's one more bracket, and it's just a darker brown, you can see, it's a darker brown. It might be the same as that one, I think. They were off two different places, but they look about the same to me in their growth. Oh, and I almost forgot, look at all the little avocados that I found. Well, when we look out here, if I go, you know, behind where you're viewing that way, so if I go up the driveway and then I go down the hill, I found all these near the mango tree at Clothier's Creek here up the top of the hill. Now I'm just not sure if they're going to ripen properly. This is one from in the forest, and let's just have a look. See a little avocado. I saw one on the ground and went, what? And then I found the tree. I had to go looking, and it was up the hill. I knew it'd be up the hill because I thought, well, it's an avocado, it's rolled down the hill. And so I just hope these other ones ripen properly. This might have not ripened so well because it was down in the forest floor and just rotting. So, you know, I've got it here on nice dry wood with the sun slightly on them. So I've got some down in here. I made that, by the way. Look at my dovetail joints. Yep, I can do woodwork. I made that a few years ago. Anyway, so I'm going to leave some there and see how they ripen, and then see if they become edible at any point, and I can go get a bag full of avocados for free. So I was looking here and it says leathers, so I think it's a type of leather, you know, it's not a lichen, it's not a jelly. So I clicked into that and it looks pretty much what I've got. Pretty similar. So I was just reading this honey fungus Wikipedia article, and it says it's highly edible. You can pause the tape and read it all. I want you to read that, so just pause the tape and read it. Let me see if I can get a better resolution now. So you can just pause it there and read down that first part. so you might not be able to read it all, but pretty much all of it there. It's just off my screencast, and that's where I got it. Mentions the honey fungus there, which I was reading about in Wikipedia. And I'm looking at this now. Someone here is just going ahead and picking mushrooms and just eating them and writing about it. So this guy is doing that. He thinks this one's a beefsteak fungus, but I don't think so. And this looks more similar to what I got. And it doesn't look like a beefsteak fungus. Anyway, he's saying he's just eating them and going for it, even if it might contain toxins. I don't recommend doing that. And, you know, these look like that recent one that I was looking at, Pycnoporus. So that's not what I'm looking for. In my 2014 summer food foraging video, I found Pycnoporus, which that might be, I'm not sure. But it looks similar to that. It doesn't look like what I've got. What I've got rings. This might be it. Orange bracket fungus. Mine's not so shiny though. I think it's some kind of leather thing, maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. It's just a picture. So it takes a long time to look. You can actually, at this website here, fungimap.org, you can join and become a member. So if I had money, I would do that and post your pictures up, and then the other members will help you identify if it's edible. Do it pretty quickly like that. And I like just going by my synchronicity and you know, going over web page after web page, so that you get to know the surrounds as well. So you know all the other mushrooms. Now I'll know what this is, you know. So I'll just check its edibility in case that's what I've got. Now I was watching a video called Alan Rockefeller, Mushrooms of Mexico, and he's really deeply into it and really good at mushroom hunting and taking pictures, hundreds of pictures a day. And that white one that I found, I thought I saw him having that video, so that's a video for you guys to watch. It goes for like almost 2 hours or something, I think, or an hour or two, and it's just him flicking through pictures, and it's a really good talk. Oh, it might be a Trametes. Okay, so you see that word down there, Trametes versicola. That might be something similar to what I have, because one of them does have white on the outside edge, and remember it's growing like that, so it's going to be similar to what I have. Yep, 5 to 10 centimeters. So is it edible? Now I'll just type in edibility, or edible, because that's just a key word. So it's pretty simple to do this, we've just got to sort of get into it. So it does say it comes with multicoloured stripes ranging from greys and browns to purple and olive greens. So it's definitely what I could have. And I did find it growing off a stump, a dead wood, dead tree. So it doesn't say if it's edible, but that's it. Might well be it, I think. Turkey tail fungus, some other people are calling it, by the look of it. Yeah, that could be similar. Turkey tail fungus. Says their uses are mainly medicinal and decorative. Right, so they might be medicine. So there you go, they might well be medicinal. There you go. Chris Hobbs' book, Medicinal Mushrooms and Exploration of Traditional Healing. Talking about alcohol extraction, I think. You may take the leftover single extracted mash and decoct in water. The tea is fairly pleasant. A tincture can be made using alcohol and water. So you can freeze the tape and read this. So it might not be, it might be this one. Let's have a look. You sort of go in circles sometimes, but you find things on the way. That's the one I've got. Yeah. So that you can see the tremedies are they all come in different colours. So I don't know, it might be medicinal by the looks of things. So it does mean versicolor does mean several colours. So definitely you'll find this in different colours, but you can tell the general sort of shape. I'm not sure that's what I've got. I think I've got some kind of leather fungus like this one. Let me have a look. Well, there you go. The next link on Trametes versicolor says, uses: Trametes versicolor is medically significant. Most importantly, it is known as being a natural source of the anti-cancer polysaccharide, which is known as a long-chain sugar, which is making up their bodies, PSK. So anti-cancer polysaccharide PSK. Polysaccharide K is a high molecular weight carbohydrate found in the fruit bodies and in higher concentrations in the mycelium. So there's some cancer research here. It can be used for dyeing wool. Member of the polypore family. So it looks to be medicinal and have an anti-cancer compound. So just as I thought in the forest. There must be something down there like medicine. So there you go. Two links have said it's medicinal, so it looks similar to what I've found. Let's see what this is. Yep, this is also on Trametes, a type. This one's called Turkey Tail. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's a wide range of colour variations, so don't be too scared about that. I just want to see if it's edible or medicinal. Although not generally reported as poisonous, these bracket fungi are far too tough to be considered edible. Turkey tail is used in Chinese medicine, however, and there are also scientific reports of its use in anti-cancer drug development. So it sounds like it's a good idea to make like a tincture out of this. Maybe put it in your tea. and it might have this polysaccharide K. You might have to do alcohol extraction to get that out, I'm not sure, because, oh no, actually I think to get the polysaccharide K sort of working for you, I think all you have to do is make it, 80 degrees, 75 degrees water, so a tea. And I think to get things like triterpenes out, you need to do the alcohol extraction. I'm pretty sure we could get something from it in tea, or by eating it. It's just sometimes if you eat it, the chitin, the body of the mushroom is hard to break down if it's one of these hard-bodied mushrooms. It's very difficult for your body and stomach to break it down, so you just have to test it out and research, I guess. So it is here, another one saying a protein-bound polysaccharide called PSK Crestin, or polysaccharide K, has been developed in Japan for cancer therapy. So there you go. That's on the turkey tail, which might be similar to this. So this one looks even lighter, which looks more like the one I've got, or at least one of the ones that I've got. So it might be this one. So I'm just going to have a look. And see if it's edible. So under this Sterium Austrea, which is a false turkey tail, it's called, it says the crude culture filtrate and methanol extracts were examined to determine the antibacterial activity of the fungus against these bacteria here, and it says in the end it shows high antimicrobial activity. And it's got lignolytic enzymes which decompose lignin. The enzyme production was compared for 10 days with some other one. Manganese peroxidase enzymes and lacase. Alright, so I've been looking at red cup fungus. This one calls it scarlet cup fungus. Remember that other one that I had, that little red sort of curled up one? I think it's one of these. Now let's go back to the start. I was looking at agaricus, and it says some people, it is poisonous for most people, causing gastrointestinal upset, but can be eaten by some without apparent negative effect. So I guess we all just have to learn, we have to study these mushrooms more and just learn who can eat what. So this is what I think I have. Notice how it looks pretty much the same, except for it's just not as dark a colour. Mine was a bit darker colour like that, and it was more like this than that, standing up out of the wood. It was more like this, sort of a bit closer to it. Well, even a bit closer to it than that. Anyway, this could be, well, what I have, something like this. So I had a look into it. So there's different varieties like that one there. Mine sort of looked like that, growing around a log. Anyway, it might not be the exact one, but let's have a look, because it looks pretty similar. And it's called, this one anyway, is called Sarcosphaia coccinea. Sarcosphaia coccinea. Scarlet elf cup. Scarlet elf cap. Anyway, let's go to the edibility. Similar species. Ah, that might be what I have there. Because I'm in Australia, it says S. austraica. Austraica. and confusion amongst these three is common. Let's have a look. It does look similar to what I have, but there's no edibility. Let's just see what it says here. Uses. It was used as a medicinal fungus by the Oneida Indians and possibly by other tribes of Icarus Six Nations. The fungus, after being dried and ground up into a powder, was applied as a styptic, particularly to the navels of newborn children that were not healing properly after the umbilical cord had been severed. Pulverized fruit bodies were also kept under bandages made of soft tanned deerskin. In Scarborough, England, the fruit bodies used to be arranged with moss and leaves and sold as a table decoration. The species is said to be edible, and that's by reference 18, which is Aurora D. 1986, Mushrooms Demystified, a comprehensive guide to the fleshy fungus, Berkeley, California. 10-speed press, so that looks like an astute link. So it's said to be edible by those guys. Inedible by 53, which is Baker, Nick Baker's British Wildlife, New Holland Publishers. So Berkeley thinks it's edible though, but that guy thinks it's inedible. Oh yeah, I forgot you can just do that. And 42 says not recommended. Smith AH, The Mushroom Hunter's Field Guide, Michigan University. So they're saying it's not really recommended, and that's probably what I would say too. It's not really something that I would recommend. I recommend psilocybe cubensis, but not this one, I don't think. Chemistry, it's got carotenoid pigments. Oh well, you know, they're good things, including pectoxanthin, beta-carotene. Oh, they're good things for you. So carotenoids are lipid soluble and are stored with granules in the paraphysis. A lectin has been purified and characterized from S. coccinea fruit bodies that can bind selectively to several specific carbohydrate molecules, including lactose. So lectins are sugar-binding proteins that are used in blood typing. Yep, and that's a video I'm going to make soon about blood type eating, because it's to do with how we digest lectin. And for instance, O positive blood type, it's said that I need lean meat, and I'm finding it very difficult to get off meat at the moment. And O negatives are the same, they need some meat. So that's all got to do with blood type eating. I'm an O positive blood type. Anyway, let's have a further look. So that's interesting, there are some good things about it by the look of it, hey? So I don't know about why they're saying inedible. So what have we got here? To something else. Hold on. Might come down to it. So you got to take the time. I often jump the gun and go a bit too quick through this. Oh, there, look, that looks like the other one that I got. Cantharellus. I thought it was because I saw it in the video by Alan Rockefeller, Mushrooms of Mexico 2014. So let's just have a look into here, because that looks like that white one that I found. It looks like a Cantharellus, what I found, because that's a or a chanterelle. Let's see if they're both edible. So that looks similar to what I found, a pale chanterelle. I might just check if that's edible, because I don't know at this point. That's why I'm researching in front of you guys, because if you start into the mycological world, you'll be facing what I'm facing right now. And so you just got to keep looking through, get a sort of idea of what types of mushrooms might be edible, and just wrap your head around the huge mushroom world, because it's not really talked about much in detail. You know, we talk a lot about plants, and you know, a lot more people know about you can grow kale and eat it even though some people think kale's not meant to be consumed by humans. Well, I'd kind of disagree. It's called the new meat kale in the vegan circles. Anyway, so we know a lot about the fruit world, so we don't know so much about the mycological fruit body world as much as the plant fruits. Alright, well that looks like what I found. Cantharellus is a genus of popular edible mushrooms, commonly known as cantarelles, or chanterelles, or something like that, meaning they form symbiotic associations with plants, making them very difficult to cultivate. So, caution must be used when identifying chanterelles for consumption due to lookalikes, such as the jack-o'-lantern. Let's have a look at that one. Don't think I found that. There's a toxic compound in this called eludin. Eludins are a family of sesquiterpenes with anti-tumor antibiotic properties produced by some mushrooms, but still it makes people sick. Eludin shows selective toxicity for myelotic leukemia and other carcinoma cells. Eludin is highly toxic, with little apparent therapeutic value in its natural form. So it's only when they make an anti-cancer extract out of it, so you've got to be careful. Many species of chanterelles contain antioxidant carotenoids such as beta-carotene and C. ciboris and C. minor and xanthozanthin in C. cibinaris and C. freesii. They also contain significant amounts of vitamin D. So people cook them with eggs, curry, chicken, pork, beef, veal, on pizzas and so on. It looks like what I've found. What was that other type? There was another type that we found. Not the chanterelle, but cantharellus. What was that other one? Anyway, before we go into them, let's finish this red cut fungi here. Most fungi are heterotrophic, unable to carry on photosynthesis, and must rely on organic nutrients such as cellulose and proteins from their host or substrate. They secrete powerful digestive enzymes that break down live or dead materials into sugars and amino acids that can be absorbed through the fungus cell walls. At least 20,000 species of fungi are lichenized and contain symbiotic photosynthetic algal cells or cyanobacteria that form a remarkable marriage that has enabled both partners to survive in inhospitable places where neither symbiont could survive by itself. Lichenization has undoubtedly occurred more than once during the geologic past, and like human marriages, the relationship ranges from mutualism to controlled parasitism. The algal partner, photobiont, provides its fungal host with energy-rich carbohydrates, while the fungus, the mycobiont, forms a protective body for the delicate algal cells that can withstand extremes in temperatures, wind, and desiccation. So what was this other one I was looking at before? We'll go back, I think. It's the cantharellus, and then there was another type. Yeah, this might be the one that I have. It's an Australian one. Let's have a look. And the other, it's possible I have an almond wood axe. Looking at the gills, it's either a chanterelle, an almond wood axe, or a Cancerellus. So it could be this chanterelle here, or that other wood axe one. So I just have to keep looking through and check. Well, that's not the one I've got in Australia. I've got a white one. White Australian Cancerellus is something I could type in. Okay, I'm just gonna finish watching The Hobbit 3 there on Putlocker, which is a good website because they even put extra links under here if the main video goes down, and so that's free. So why pay at the cinema? Anyway, so I'm looking into this other toxin I've heard about in mushrooms. Now, I heard two people talk about it in the health field, and I think I said hemolytic paxin or hemolytic paxil. And so I found two things when I typed that into Google, some antidepressants, something to do with Paxil, and I thought that's not what I'm looking for, and then I found something to do with autoimmune hemolysis, Paxil, autoimmune anemia or something, and I thought maybe that's not what I'm looking for either, so I just typed in hemolytic toxin in mushrooms, and I've got a few links here to go through. So let's just start with this one. So this looks to be what I'm after, what I was chasing. So hemolysis in mushroom poisoning, facts and hypothesis. Now remember yesterday we found a link where the guy didn't research before he just ate a wild forage mushroom he found, so you don't want to do that. And here's one reason why. After we finish talking about this, I think you'll agree that you don't want to just take everything you find. You want to thoroughly research it first, especially in the mushroom mycology field, because there's so many lookalikes and they're hard to distinguish, and mycotoxins can be very severe. So let's go into that. Primary hemolysis induced by antigens and toxins of mushrooms must be distinguished from hemolysis secondary to shock and dissemination or disseminated intravascular coagulation with disruption of erythrocytes caused by severe poisoning with many mushroom species. So we're talking about primary, not secondary hemolysis. Primary hemolysis is well documented in immunohemolysis after repeated ingestion of involute Paxalis or Paxalis involutus, which is this one. Notice how similar it looks to the white mushroom that I found. Looks very similar with the gills and how it's coming out of the ground, so this could be in fact what I picked. So this is toxic, so lucky I didn't just ingest this. So it's called a common roll rim or poison pax, and could be very well the mushroom that I found, that white one. So hemolysis is only speculative in monomethyl hydrazine poisoning by false morellis, which is another type of mushroom, Gyromitra esculenta. Secondary hemolysis due to shock and is not uncommon. Hemolysis in connection with enzymopenia of erythrocytes has not been documented yet. So they're looking in this present study at various hemolytic syndromes, so this would be a good one to look through if you wanted to look further into it, because they're looking at various hemolytic syndromes and various ones are described and discussed. So let's look at what that is. Hemolysis, also spelled hemolysis from Greek anemia, or hemo, meaning blood, and lysis or lysis. And as far as I know, lysis is the enzymatical unwinding of a cell and a decaying of a cell, so serious cell senescence there. Meaning a losing, setting free or releasing is the rupturing of erythrocytes or erythrocytes, red blood cells, they are. So the rupturing of your red blood cells and the release of their contents, cytoplasm, into surrounding fluid, e.g. blood plasma. So you don't want it. It's the bursting of your red blood cells. So we want to avoid that, and that can happen from this mushroom. And that does look similar to the one I picked. So I'm not going to be eating it. Now let's go over this link because it was a good one. NAMCO.org, Toxicology, Poison Syndromes, North American Mycological Association, because I thought this was a good one. It names like 10 different distinctive patterns of reactions to mycotoxins. There are different types of mycotoxins. Of 14 distinctive types of mushroom poisoning found worldwide, so far about 10 distinctive patterns of recreations to or reactions to mycotoxins have been observed in North America. However, since most mushroom species are rarely eaten, many toxins are poorly documented, and syndromes not yet observed in North America may turn up as more and more people experiment with eating wild mushrooms. So that's right, we're sort of on the forefront. You know, we don't know too much about mushrooms in the wild yet. There's a lot of lookalikes. People have gotten a lot of poisoning. You can imagine in the future, once we understand different species and genuses, that we'll get sick less often because we'll know what we're doing more. And so this is how we achieve that, by researching thoroughly. So here's a list. The following syndromes are addressed below: gastrointestinal irritants, muscarine, which is in the Amanita muscarias and those ranges of mushrooms, isozazole derivatives, izaxol derivatives, muscimol, botanic acid and relatives, amantin, amatoxins, which are in the Amanita ranges, the Amanita mushrooms, gyromitrin, maybe from Gymnopolis, I don't know, orelanin, psilocybin, psilocin, and other indole derivatives. Now remember, they're the hallucinogens, so yeah, they're named as toxins, but remember, for psilocybin, you can take about a pound of psilocybe cubensis before it becomes a lethal dose, when only the effective dose is about a handful. So you're not going to run the risk of intoxicating yourself with psilocybin mushrooms. You have to take a hell of a lot of them. So don't worry about the psilocybin range, because they're the ones I teach about all the time, and those indole derivatives. And people like Dennis McKenna, Terence McKenna's brother, he has a video called Alkaloids and Evolution. So they're not such bad guys, and I think they're being mistaken as bad guys by very scientific type people, very surface people, organic portal type of people, who are never going to be shamans or anything like this. Now there's alaninic, leucine and delayed kidney damage, coprine and other alcohol-induced syndromes, miscellaneous and unknown toxins. So as you can see, there are still unknown toxins. So the mycological field is vast, and you need to do research before you just go ahead and eat any mushroom that you've picked. And you have to be very sure, because there are lookalikes of so many different mushrooms. So you get things from vomiting to cramps to diarrhea, nausea, about 20 minutes to 4 hours after ingesting poisonous mushrooms. So you can get serious toxicity from amatoxins, which are in the Amanita ranges. The Inocybe species have a lot of toxic ones. There are 4 hallucinogenic ones, but there are many more toxic ones, so be careful in the Inocybe range. So there's some Inocybe there. There's a Boletus. Now, I'll let you go through these. I'll just scroll down so you can pause the video and read. For instance, gyrometrin is also a known carcinogen, so consuming a less than toxic dose may also cause trouble down the line. So you might not feel it after a single mushroom, but it might cause a problem later. So you've got to be very careful with these guys, because they can have these little tricky toxins that can build up over time. You might think you're eating an edible mushroom, but you're not. So be very, very careful. Ah, the psilocybes, probably my favourite mushrooms. So here we are, and it's got one of those mirrors, the corner mirrors, so it's easy to identify this corner. Now over this side of the corner, I'm not going to take you down there, but there's a mango tree. Oh, alright, we'll go down there. There's a mango tree down here and a Monstera deliciosa just here on the side of the road. So you can see the Monstera deliciosa from here. I've just got not much battery. Oh no, now it says full battery. God, make your mind up. Anyway, I thought I had no battery, but it looks full. So here's the Monstera deliciosa. And remember, you have to wait until that part is very, very ripe. This here, that's the fruit, and it tastes like a tropical fruit. And if you eat it too early, it's very acidic. I've heard stories of people even bleeding from it. But when it's ripe, it's fine. And it tastes sort of like pineapple-y. So indeed it would tenderize meat by the sound of it, just like pineapple, if people have bled from it being too acidic and too unripe. So make sure they're very, very ripe. And there's the mango tree. Now just down in there, down over there some way, there's a wild avocado tree. Let's go have a look. I'm just going to have a joint of cannabis first because my foot's sore. I'm going to go around to the drain over here, and then I'm going to go down and around the mountain. So here we are, just slid down off the side of the road near this drain, and the path goes down under here. So just be careful of snakes and stuff, obviously. So we're going to go under this thing. Oh. Over these logs and to the left. Ah, cannabis sativa. Anyway, if you come across a spider web, you just move one end out of the way. Just take note where the spider is in the middle of the web, and you lift one end of the spider web up and undone, and the spider runs to the other end, and then you can pass. So you can see how beautiful it is down here. Look at the soil, nice and dark soil. I mean, I almost feel like digging some of this soil up and putting it in the garden. But yeah, it's really beautiful. Got a nice view in the background. Maybe you can't see the mountains, but I can. Now, it's just a little bit more to the left. Let's go. So there it is. Let's go have a look. This is it right here. And they're just laying around everywhere. So it's also got branches down on the ground here. This is actually it. All of this is the avocado tree. So it's got branches down onto the ground, and it's got a stem up, trying to get some sunlight. I was thinking about trying to clear out like maybe that macaranga. The macarangas are everywhere. So I was going to clear out that tree there and maybe this one next to it, so that the food tree can take precedence, and because it's got to feed the humans, which are meant to be looking after the environment. Hey humans, naughty, naughty humans. We should be looking after the environment much better. So you can see they're just all laying around, so I'm going to go and gather a bag. So that's how many I got, just off the ground. The bag's breaking and I'm off home, and I just hope they ripe properly and I don't know, they're good to eat. got a baby. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. Or her. Looks like a little boy. Hello everyone. So I was just thinking, about taking up a challenge for your donation, Katie, because no, I don't just do this series for money like some people seem to think. I'm doing it to enlighten you people, enlighten everyone and help everyone, you know, feed themselves appropriately, not just with junky toxic food from the supermarket, which is not where food is and comes from. You know, I don't want to work $30 every day, you know, a whole day for a piddly $30. You're kidding yourself if you all think I'm just doing this for money. Anyway, so I thought I'd take up a little bit of a challenge. We're looking at a papaya carica there, that tree in the middle, and you can see some fruits hanging under there. There's actually about 35 to 40 fruits or something like that that's going to come off this thing. I think there was about 35, and you know, I thought, oh wow, this is going to be awesome. It's going to provide me like the bulk of my smoothie for the next 2 months. You know, if you have a daily smoothie. My smoothies are so nutrient dense now that I only really have like 2 cups of them a day. I guess I could transition much more to it, but I like the Ayurvedic type of style of eating of, you know, one hot meal, and then yeah, you might do a cold, refrigerated smoothie, 2 cups of that during a day, and you know, 1 in the night, 1 in the morning or whatever, you know, and have tonics, tinctures and elixirs, and eating 5 different flavors a day, so bitter, sweet, etc., and then eating 5 different colors of food a day, like the Wakshu warriors. So you know, you get your pigments, you get your whole range of pigments in a week, because you're eating different colors of foods. Remember, the color is the pigment, which is the antioxidant. The actual color and the actual pigment in the food, like lycopene, the red in capsicum or the red in tomato, lycopene, which is best slightly heated. That's why I have it with like sweet potato, because you're also going to get, I think it's hemolytic paxillin or paxin or something in the sweet potato, that you have to break it down. You have to cook sweet potato. You know, you can eat it now and then raw if you really want to, but not often. So, you know, I like to take an approach to food of that sort of nature, wherein it's very broad. It's not just, oh, the best for me is a smoothie every day and I just want to be a liquiditarian and that's it. I like the range of food, I like the spice of life, you know what I mean? So anyway, I was thinking about doing a challenge. I've got access to all these fruit trees, and it's the height of summer. It's January. Fuck, it's hot today. We're in North New South Wales, Australia, and yeah, it's pretty hot today. So I've just realised how many free fruit trees I have access to right now. I'm incredibly lucky. I mean, clearly the angels have given me back for my perseverance during the eschaton and the final compressions into the 2012 eschaton, because look at this place. I have my own river down there when it rains and everything. I'm getting like the best water in the world, and you know, it's just all happening for me now. It's starting to really take off. So I thought, you know, since I don't do this series just for money, and it is to, you know, help you guys, and myself, because it's going to be cool to be able to look back at all my videos, and then, you know, I'm not going to remember everything, so I can go back, go to the same playlist, and there's the information, all compressed, you know, and concressed. So I've got access to all these fruit trees, so I was thinking about doing a challenge, seeing if I could just live off just the environment, not go to the shop for anything. You know, maybe I'll get coconut oil from the supermarket or wherever, a health shop, to get unrefined coconut oil that's non-hydrogenated and so on, you know, to shower with for dermal absorption through the skin, your biggest organ. But, you know, I'm not going to buy food from the shop. That's my idea. I want to try and see if I can do it. Now, sorry for the shaky little camera. I've got this crap little camera. One day people will see who I am and start to give me what I deserve, so that I can do what I want to do for them, not a half-assed job. Anyway, so yeah, think about donating more, everyone. I also do consultations, just general personal Jesus sessions. And a sort of advanced session, which is more expensive, and you can't get back to back. It's a one-time thing. I have to meditate into it, and I'll also email you after, when, you know, angels and deities and nature spirits and so on and so forth give me answers, because you'll be on my mind after the session. So you can get the master session or the basic consultation, the personal Jesus session, which is like only $50, but by the end of the year I'll double that price. Because I want to be out in nature, I don't want to be on the internet all day. So you got to pay. You know, if I can live off the environment solely, I think it's going to show people, you know, I'm a strong enough boy, I look good, you know, my skin's clear, my lymph system's clear, my blood's clear enough, and etc. So I'm a healthy enough kid, and or man, whatever the fuck you want to call me. I'm a healthy enough person, and so I thought, well, if I can show people that you can live off the environment, it's probably going to help a few little kids who think food comes from the supermarket and corporates, and that's just going to lead to their inurement to the matrix, you know, and that's no good, because you can't live in the matrix and be the matrix, and still hold all of your soul, and, you know, do all of your, the maximum that you could possibly do of your magnus opus, and you can't focus it enough. That's why you're listening to me right now, because I don't go and trudge off to work like a robot every day, because I study instead. And it's great, because knowledge really is power, and it's good, it's fun sometimes too. It's not always just study. Sometimes you learn because you're interested, like with plants. That's why I love doing this series, because it's nice to be out there grounding, reanionizing, and grounding out barefoot, and, you know, it's just nice. It's colour therapy when you see flowers, like a psychedelic trip. You know, it's colour therapy, and that helps your third eye clear, and so on. There's many benefits of it, the gardening, you know. So anyway, I've got access to papaya carica, what you're seeing there, or pawpaw. There's going to be like 35 of those over the next 2 months. So that's going to be most of my smoothie, and then I can just tip in, you know, if if I didn't want to buy anything, well, I'm still able to live off all the fruits I think I've got access to, because I've got avocado. I can always learn a bit more about mushrooms and forage some more of those. I've got avocado, mushrooms, papaya, Monstera deliciosa, what else was there? Mangoes. So I'm going to dry a lot of mangoes. What else is there? I've got a lot of teas up there. The olive tree leaves, the lemon myrtle, which is right there at my fingertip. Plantain is up there for tea as well. You can make papaya carica into tea as well. It's anti-cancerous and everything. There's a lot of tea up there, and then there's a lot of greens as well. So I've got greens and I've got fruits. I'm sure I could survive for a month. Now, yeah, so I mean, I just kind of want to show it can be done, and of course it can be. How do you think our ancestors lived? You know, and they didn't all die at the age 30 like they purport. I'm sure some of them lived quite long, maybe not 256 years, but like some spurious Facebook posts would have you believe. But you know, I'm sure they lived, some of them at least, quite long off natural living way back when. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, I've got galangal right there, right here. That's galangal that's sticking out here. And that's like ginger, but a bit more peppery. Now I've also made a video of that, galangal versus ginger. And then I can get really, really cheap sweet potato at one of the farm stalls here, and really cheap bananas and tomatoes. So I mean, I could consider that. Obviously it's not wild food foraging, but the idea of not going to the shop for a month, you know, I'm sure I could do that right now. And you can just see, well, look how many, there's 50 enzymes in the papaya carica. Enzymes, sorry, amino acids. There's 50 amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins in your body. So it is kind of a meat replacement. Not obviously fully, but it's going to help you replace meat if you eat things like cacao, raw cacao nibs, which is what I grind up in like every smoothie now. Raw cacao nibs, because it's high in iron and magnesium, and you know, magnesium for the bones and magnesium for your teeth, and that's why a lot of people have got the clear teeth going on. I started to get that too. You can see through your teeth because the enamel's just starting to sorry, the stuff under the enamel's starting to come back, and so now I'm actually I think getting better from eating this cacao, and I mean, I feel it. Sorry, the video cut out, but suffice to say, so I don't have to keep spieling on, that you can live off papaya, galangal, those tea leaves, you know, all the greens in the garden. I've got kale up there, and spinach and parsley. You know, spinach and parsley are two of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. And papaya, you know, with its amino acids, 50 amino acids. Check my video on that one. And it's a very shamanic plant. I can even smoke it, so I can even have like clearing sessions, and I could make smudge sticks with the pineapple sage up there, and also smoke the pineapple sage if I really wanted to, and eat that. And you know, there's enough there. There's lemongrass up there, lemon myrtle, the olive leaves, and etc. for the tea. And then you've got avocado, glutathione, and really good set oils. You know, really mature avocados have nice set oils. So you're getting good oils, and for your body and your brain and stuff. And you know, I think it's fair enough to say you could live off these things I'm mentioning. You should check how good galangal is. That's anti-inflammation. Oh, remember, orange in nature means anti-inflammation. The orange things. It's sort of like the orange yellowy pigment. And then, you know, there's lutein for your eyes, vitamin A, zeaxanthin for your eyes. Those three in plants. If I have any yellowy orange flowers, there'll be zeaxanthin. Lutein is under all the chlorophyll in all the plants. That's why when you see the
leaf go from, when it starts dying, it goes from the green chlorophyll to the yellow lutein underneath. And we actually need quite a lot of lutein, I found out, for our eyes, to keep our eyes healthy. It's quite a large daily dose, actually. And that was from a medical doctor on the Longevity Warehouse stage, I heard that. And then, you know, I've got kale, which is for the bones as well. You know, vitamin K is actually good for your bones. And you can see how kale is. It's sort of like, that almost like rubbery. And so that's like silica, which is also in parsley. And I think, oh no, that's selenium. Celery is high in silica. So there may be some silica in some of these plants as well, but you know, then I've got vitamin K from the kale for my bones. So anyway, you know, and then I've got something nice. I've got the mangoes. They're also anti-cancerous. The leaves can make a stomach tonic tea if you don't turn out in a rush like me, so I can't do that one. But I can dehydrate the mangoes, and there's like, I don't know, there's like 10 trees or 20 trees almost. Hopefully I can eat the turpentine mangoes even when they're totally ripe, but I'm probably going to stick to the, I think they're Bowen mangoes. They're really, really nice, and they sell them at the shops, but they're growing all around the place, just in the streets. So, you know, you've got vitamins from that as well, the mangoes. And anti-cancerous effect as well. Papaya carica, anti-cancer effect too. And then, where was I up to? Then Monstera deliciosa. You know, that one, check one of my videos. What video was it? The summer food foraging video, 2014, North New South Wales, Australia, with Benjamin Cowenberg, foraging, 2014 summer. It's in the $30 Bandit playlist, and you can learn what Monstera deliciosa is, and that's also going to have some vitamins in it, and that's also just going to be like a snack, a delicious sort of icy pole thing in summer. You know, it's a fruit, and it's shaped like a sort of cone shape, and when you eat it really, really ripe, it tastes really tropical like, so it's going to be like a treat, you know, and it's going to have fructose and stuff, and help me get glucose for my brain, because remember, your brain runs on glucose, which is not refined sugar. That's why I say everything in the shops, refined sugar is a drug. No, I'm not kidding. Even the Californian scientists have found out it acts on the dopamine receptor like cocaine. And I just made a video, Psychedelic Plenipotentiary 2, where I compared sugar to psychedelic mushrooms, for instance, who are living beings, who are not manufactured, synthetic, anti-fractal. They're not fractal, they've got no flow, the sugar. But the mushrooms are living beings, and they're connected to the universal flow. They're alive, they're a being, like you, doing. So, you know, that's why it's also good to collect mushrooms from the wild, because you get, what is it, beta glucans, but often beta glucans will not come in commercially grown mushrooms, or at least not nowhere near as good, or quantifiably. And so, you know, all these things together, you can see how if you had just a little garden like this, just a little patch like this, which you could spread around your house, if you know you just got an urban house and your house is there, and you can just spread it around. Like, check my video 2013, The End of History, History Ends in Green video. That 2-hour video I shot when I was living with Linda and Matt in Gold Coast. And you know, I surrounded their house, all 3 sides, with food. Because why not? Why just have grass there? It doesn't take long to grow. And you learn as you go, and you learn to put plants in each other's shade, so you have to do less. I mean, it's obviously all a learning process. I don't know everything about plants, but I do notice that they always want one leaf in the shade to circulate their water into that shady leaf, and then back into the leaves, which are photosynthesizing crazy in the sun and burning up into the sun because they're so in love with the sun. They burn up into it. It's awesome, huh? So, you know, you can see if you just made a little patch, you had avocado, galangal, I don't know, a mango tree, but if you can't, well, there's plenty of things to replace that with. that's a smaller growing plant. So just say you had these: avocado, galangal, which is like a sort of ginger thing, papaya carica or pawpaw, anti-parasitical, the seeds. It's going to stop your cancer. Okay, my battery's really low, so I've got to just quickly finish. I think this camera is just about done. So please keep donating, because I think I need...
Whoa, it's hot. I just finished watering the garden. My battery is stuffing up. It won't charge properly, so I think my camera is actually dying. That's the best camera. It's a cheap underwater camera. That's the best camera I can afford. So I'll have to wait, I think, till next month till I get a bit more money. Maybe I can buy a new one. Anyway, or someone could donate. Anyone listening, feel free to donate and help me get a camera so I can keep this series going. You know, $200, $100 would be enough. I can just get another cheap underwater camera. Anyway, yes, nothing left but GMOs. Better drink my own piss. And that's Bear Grylls there from Man vs. Wild. We've all seen him eat grasshoppers and all sorts of insects and drink his own pee on national television, or international. Anyway, so you can see the point I was trying to make is, you know, if you have a wild avocado near you, for instance, you know how easy avocados are to grow. You just put it in a glass for a day, let it soak up some water, or you can do it the proper way and you know, you leave it to fully sprout in the glass and you hang it by some toothpick so it's half in the water, and you know, you could just put it at your local park. Just grow it behind you know, one of the little gardens that the council looks after, although they pesticide all that stuff because they're, you know, into that. You know, if we can grow a good enough food garden, once you get good at it, you can sort of outgrow the weeds. Yeah, there's a bit of weeding at the start, obviously, but you can get a pretty good food forest going that can sort of sustain itself for like a decade. I think it's Martin Crawford's Food Forest on YouTube is a good video for that idea. It's like 10 parts for his video. Anyway, so you can just put, you know, put mango seeds and, you know, all the big seeds, just throw them in the bush and they might grow, because that's how I think that avocado tree must have grown. Otherwise maybe it's just a full wild avocado, I don't know, but it looks like someone must have thrown it out off the side of the road or something. But you know, I can barely imagine someone eating an avocado in the car and throwing the pit out. So it might be a natural wild avocado. I haven't researched it actually. I don't know if they grow wild everywhere here in Australia, but I found one. Synchronicity, I think. You know, so I could shoot this video and give the idea across that if we plant food everywhere, not just community gardens, but yeah, that's obviously the best idea, because then multiple people can do upkeep and weeding and watering and whatever. But you just throw seeds around. Let's get more mango trees in the wild. I'm about to have like, I don't know, 3-4 trees worth of free mangoes for the next 2 months. I'm just going to keep dehydrating them. So that's a good option too. You can store food. So anyway, the point is you're getting mango, Monstera deliciosa, you're getting vitamins, minerals, you're getting fats from the avocado, de-inflammation and all the good stuff that's in galangal and turmeric and whatever else. And then you've got those teas. You don't have to grow a lemon myrtle tree, you can just grow a little lemon verbena. Those things only grow like 3 meters tall, so you can do that in any house, you know. Even if you're in the suburbs with like a 1 meter wide garden like I had at 2013 at Linda's place. So it's pretty simple to see that basically I'm going to have like most of my food covered just from like 5 or so different fruit trees right now. going to have the avocado. I'm going to have the mango, the Monstera deliciosas. There's heaps of them around here, so those Monsterias, I'll be able to get quite a lot of those. The mangoes are plentiful, you know. There's so many mangoes on one tree. And you saw how many avocados were on the avocado tree. I ended up picking like a whole shopping bag full, and there's more there. And I'm still eating those avocados now, and that was like last week, at the start of last week or something. So a week or two later, I'm still eating those avos. So my point is that, you know, if you start growing a few right trees, like the papaya carica or pawpaw, they're so easy to grow and they grow really quickly. Same with lemon verbena. So this whole strategy is just really good, because if you get 2 months of free food, well, maybe you can save for a holiday during that time, or, you know, invest in a camera, which is what I think I'm going to do now. So it looks like synchronistically, I think I have to do this sort of challenge. And I don't know, you can just see how you can live off this, you know, like you got your fats, you got your vitamins, minerals, anti-cancer, your alkaline, your nutrient-dense stuff, if you just grow some like parsley and spinach as well. You get the idea. All in all, if you stop shopping for 2 months from the supermarket and go on to those trees and foods I've just named, actually what you're going to be doing is getting healthier. So I mean, just straight up at face value, facsimile value, it's still a good idea. And you know, you feel better, you feel clearer. You don't feel like your energy's all over the place as much. And remember, you are what you eat energetically. And if we don't do this, this is what happens. We'll have GMOs, we'll have corporates ruling our food supply, and then you don't even have a say, because then all the seeds will turn to Terminator GMO technology seeds and all that kind of thing, and sterile foods, and we'll wreck all the heirloom strong foods, and it's just going to wreck everything if we go down that path. We're not going to be happy in the end. So and during it either. So it's not just an ends to the means. Also the means to that ends is enjoyable, healthy. You get to ground. Healthy because you're eating nutrient-dense food and it hasn't been sprayed with pesticides and etc. Larvicides, fungicides, it's all suicide. So I just think we should take this into consideration. And just off those 5 trees that I've named, the mango, the avocado, the monstera, that papaya, what was the other one? Just off those, I'm going to be getting a lot of my food over the next 2 months. So let's not drag this on further, and thanks for donating, Kaiti. And everybody who's listening, this is part of the $30 Bandit Food Plant Teaching Series. I'm Benjamin Cowenberg from consciousazine.com. That's conscious, and then azine on the end of it, as in the end of magazine. So consciousazine.com.